If you feel like you just woke up one day and your horse just suddenly was like a completely different horse and they were just like deciding to be difficult, that's probably not what happened. Most likely you missed some really early warning signs that this was coming. And today we're going to be talking about that. This video is for you. You're in the right place. I see this all the time with my clients and in my riding school. And I'm going to help you kind of break down what some of those early signs are that something's kind of maybe amiss and what we can do about it when we start to see them so that we don't get to this point where our horse is suddenly a completely different horse and super difficult to work with. And I'm also going to help you figure out what to do if you're already there. So no matter where you are, get comfy. Let's figure this out together. If you're new here, I'm Ruby. I'm a whole horse stewardship trainer, and I help horses and humans just like you to have a deeper bond and better relationship through whole horse stewardship principles. And today we're going to be specifically talking about communication and how horses communicate and how that communication can break down and make us feel like suddenly we don't know the horse that we're riding anymore. Also, excuse my voice and the setting. I am in the middle of getting ready for a show, and I'm doing a real quick video before I go. And I'm also very sick. So sorry for all of that. It's just, this is life. This is where we are today. Anyway, one of my biggest, most strongest beliefs in this life is that behavior from horses is communication. I feel like often people are like, I wish my horse could just tell me what's wrong. And I just want to like scream from the mountaintops. They are trying. They're trying to tell you what's wrong in the only way that they know how. And we're perceiving that as naughty behavior and trying to correct that naughty behavior. But really that naughty behavior stemmed from the horse trying to ask for help. And so what we first need to do before we address that naughty behavior is figure out why it's happening in the first place. That doesn't mean we allow it to happen. So this is a really important one. This doesn't mean we let our boundaries get bulldozed. This doesn't mean we let our horses bite us or kick us or take off or pull us to the gate. But what we do is we get curious and we say, why is my horse doing this unwanted behavior? What started this in the first place? And we still hold the boundary and say, you're not allowed to do anything dangerous with me ever. That's just fine, firm line there in the sand. We don't allow that behavior. However, we don't want to punish our horse for that behavior either. So instead, it's this like asking the question, why are we doing this? So let's take the example of the horse that suddenly is like very cold backed, like maybe when you get on, they're like really agitated and grouchy and they're girthy and cinchy and they're biting at the sides. So we could say maybe they don't want to be ridden anymore, or they're just being difficult, or they're trying to make my life difficult, right? Like these are some things that I hear commonly thrown around when horses are being this way. They're sour, they've gotten grouchy, I don't know, I hear all kinds of, terms thrown around about these horses that are angry about getting mounted or being saddled or cinched. But in reality, we can kind of get curious, like, is their saddle maybe uncomfortable? Did we check saddle fit? Have we checked saddle fit recently? Has the horse's body changed since last time we checked saddle fit? Are they stronger or weaker or bigger, or they've gained weight or lost weight? Because all of that will change our saddle fit. Has my body changed? Am I riding in a way? Have I taken time off and now I'm off balance? Or have I gained weight or lost weight or become in some way a less comfortable rider for my horse? And then we can ask, is there something medical going on? Does my horse maybe have a sore back from a different reason? Maybe it's not saddle related. Or sometimes I even see this come up if they're sore in their hind legs, if their hocks or stifles are sore. This is the illness talking here. If hocks or stifles are sore, sometimes the horse will also be reluctant to be saddled and ridden. So we're checking their body for pain. We might also look for ulcers, find out if maybe there's gastric or stomach pain happening. And then finally, we might also think about psychological pain. Is this horse burnt out? Are they, if it's a mare, is the horse in heat? That's a big one that I forgot. A lot of horses, when they're in heat, get criticized for being girthy or pulling back or being difficult to ride or whatever, but really it's just that their back hurts. So check that out too if your horse is a mare. But anyway, back to the psychological pain. Are they burnt out? Are they bored? Are they like needing something different? Are they needing a win? Have they just been too much in boot camp lately and they just need to do something fun and blow off some steam? These are all reasons that a horse could be reluctant to be saddled. Doesn't mean that they're allowed to turn around and bite you when you put the saddle on. So we're going to block. And we're going to not allow that. And we're going to not give that attention and not going to give that behavior any attention. And I actually have a whole video on specifically this with saddling that I'll link here. And that horse was ruled out for all pain by multiple veterinarians, body workers. There were parts of his body that were sore because he's older, but there wasn't any like acute pain with saddling. He had a custom saddle. This was So at that point, once we've ruled out all of those things, we then say, okay, so this is probably a learned behavior because at some point that was important. At some point, this behavior was protective. So maybe at one point the back did hurt, or maybe the saddle didn't fit right. And then we fixed it, but the behavior stayed. And that's really common. So behaviors are communication first, and they're also learned. So it's usually something that the horse has figured out protects them from something that is dangerous or scary. So if you feel like your horse has this sudden new unwanted behavior, or is suddenly really difficult, or is suddenly a completely different horse than they were yesterday or a few weeks ago or whatever, these are the things you want to look into. I have a whole entire video also about the 6 questions you need to ask yourself. And I'll also link below. I have a diagnostic tool for this that will all help you to figure out kind of where the root of the problem is with these behavioral issues. But for the purposes of this conversation, we want to look at is there physical or psychological pain or perceived pain? And then we want to look at, is there something this horse is afraid of, avoiding, worried about? Or is this a misunderstanding? Is this something that the horse thinks is going to get them a certain outcome, or they think this is what I want from them, but actually they're just not understanding me? And that is what we're going to be talking about more in the next video. So wait for that one to come up on Saturday, and I will see you there. Make sure to hug your horse for me.